I've always welcomed this gospel because here Jesus is saying, know your limitations. He knows our limitations, and it's important that we do. We may not always be effective in sharing our faith. And when we're not to dig our heels into the ground, but we're to surrender and place those we hope to have faith in God's hands. God gives up on no one. Jesus gives up on no one, but he knows that we have to move on when we're getting frustrated or feeling anger over those who aren't receptive to faith or to truth or open to love or forgiveness. Place them in God's hands. That's where they belong. God may send someone else. It's not always about us and our success in things. The other thing that I find interesting is the reality. Jesus was a great realist. It's why one of the many ways he witnessed to what it means to be human on this earth. And he recognizes that goodness, truth, love, forgiveness are going to be thwarted, are going to be denied. Why? Because of people's willfulness. When you think about it, it's our willfulness that gets us in trouble. Whether it's the married couple who are clashing of wills, whether to buy the new car or decorate the house, or the teachers whose willfulness that students must learn in a particular way and not the way that they have a greater aptitude, whether it's the bombastic priest who insists that there's only one way to interpret a scripture, or whether it's our own willfulness at work, or the boss who's just willfully, it has to be done this way or the highway, and we know that there are better ways. And then think of how willfulness has caused all the trouble in the world. Leaders of nations who will that this arable land will be part of their country, and the conquests of Poland, the Balkans, the Ukraine, all over a willfulness that somebody thinks he or she knows everything and must do this. Jesus knows how we can get so caught up in that. And so when we're shaking the dust off our feet, it's another opportunity to become humble. And then I like, in thinking of what's true humility, to think of St. Francis of Assisi. He gives us a great tool to truly be humble, to free ourselves from willfulness when our desires are not being met, to relate to the animals, to recognize not only our common humanity, but what we have in common with all creation. Animals don't have willfulness, they have instinct. But more than that, what we have in common with all creatures is the need for food and the need to cooperate in obtaining food. Very few creatures get food all on their own, especially those who are mammals, with which we are more alike. We have more in common. The wolf pack, the pride, they work together for food, and that should make us humble, that when we willfully want somebody to do something, then it's not our way, how important cooperation is, and time, and patience. And like God's creatures, all the animals need food and air to breathe, and water to drink. It needs to make us humble. And it also helps us understand, like all the animals, like all creation, how we're dependent on the gift and graciousness of God. So as we come to the Eucharist today, remember that we need one another. The company of disciples is an important, essential part of the gospel. And to recognize that in this company of disciples, we're also in the company of all God's creatures and the very earth we share.